Well, the piano man himself, Billy Joel, canceling his concert tour due to balance issues related to a condition called normal pressure hydrocephalus. To explain this condition and how it can affect those who come down with it, we are joined now by our medical expert, Dr. David Winter with Baylor Scott & White. Dr. Winter, when you hear normal pressure hydrocephalus, you think, hey, how bad can it be?
Yeah, it can be pretty bad, Mark. These people can get really stove up. They can't get around very well. They can't think very well. The signs that we look for, it comes on gradually, by the way. So first we'll watch to see how they're walking. They have what we call kind of a sticky gait or magnetic gait. They have trouble picking their feet up in these short steps. The second one usually comes, the second sign that we see typically comes later, and it's when they urinate on themselves, urinary incontinence. Then they start having trouble with their memory. They forget things. They have headaches. Sometimes they have mood changes. They have problems with depression. So it's a bad disease. It's fortunately it's uncommon, but we're seeing of it more now, particularly with Billy Joel's comments on the news page.
Now, when you call it normal pressure, though, what about the normal aspect is abnormal?
Yeah, that's a good point. Let me use my model to demonstrate the problem here. We have fluid that goes around the outside of our brain, also in cavities inside the brain called ventricles, and then down the spinal cord. And all this flows around, being secreted and then reabsorbed. The pressures don't go particularly high, but they're not reabsorbed. And when they're not reabsorbed, they push that brain up against the skull, which causes the damage to the brain with normal pressure hydrocephalus.
Well, when you talk about some of those symptoms and the prognosis, how do you treat a condition like this? What's involved?
Yep, if we diagnose it in proper time, you want to catch it early, the neurosurgeons, brain surgeons, will take a little tube, they'll put it into the brain, into that ventricle, then tunnel it down into the abdominal cavity where the fluid then is reabsorbed and the pressure goes down. When they do this, typically patients within a day or two are significantly better. So the operation is really well done, have good results.
Now, I know that you can't diagnose Billy Joel from afar, but based on what you've heard in interviews, et cetera, where is he in this process?
Yeah, it sounds like he's been treated because they talk about that. We don't know that for sure. It's important that you diagnose these things early, as I say. They can mimic other conditions. That's the problem. It's kind of tricky. We were taught in medical school for this condition, look for the 3 W's. They're wobbly, they don't walk very well, they wet on themselves, and they get kind of weird with confusion. So those 3 things make you think this condition might be there. Pretty easy to diagnose it with a CAT scan, MRI scan. You see those big cavities in the ventricles. They swell up, and that's when you want to find a neurosurgeon because the treatment typically works very well.
Okay, so would you see some regaining of maybe some of the conditions that you've had trouble with?
Yes, he should. And the hope is he'll get good enough he can go back on concert tour. I'm a big fan of his also, Mark, but this treatment usually works very well, very successful.
Well, it's funny. He is actually the very first person I ever interviewed in my career as a young high school kid for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram way back in the day. So I'm certainly rooting for him too, and hopefully we'll see him on the piano soon. Dr. David Winter with Baylor Scott & White.
The piano man.
The piano man himself. Thank you for your time and expertise today, sir.